so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. And you guys have heard me say that if I ever run ads on this show, it will only be with a company that I fully support because I believe their intention is to make a positive difference in the world. Well, I'm pleased to announce that day has arrived and that this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, on this week's powwow episode, I'm very excited to have Darius Oliver here with me on the show. Darius is a numerologist, and we actually met in person recently at one of my favorite transformational festivals, Lucidity, and he has such a magical presence, and after just a few minutes of talking to him, I'm like, man, I would love to do a numerology episode. It's one nut that I haven't cracked, so to speak, on the show. Darius, you were, nice enough to offer to come on and not only give, a mini reading, but to give us the breakdown on all this numerological magic, the numerological magical world that you play in. And so happy to have you here, my friend.
Yes. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for having me on the show and being a part of the magic that is Positive Heads. And, the positivity, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's really beautiful because it's such a collective of, not only are the listeners, as I affectionately call them, P-heads, like just so amazing and such beautiful reflections. It's like with every one of these episodes, it's like a new friend coming into the circle, with a new skill set or perspective, or it's just beautiful, man. It's been really beautiful to watch it continue to grow. So thank you for supporting that. And I'd like to start with the same question that I always start off with. I'm very predictable in my opening and ending questions. And the opening question is, you're in an elevator. The woman next to you looks over, says, "What's your passion?" What do you say?
Oh, man. My passion is understanding myself and understanding others. I like to heal people. I like to help people. I like to hold space for people so that they can, we can both arrive at like a destination. I recently have included, some other services in what I do and how I express that passion. But the main thing I focus on is numerology right at this moment. That's what I would probably say. In addition to that, I've just started reflexology too.
Okay. So, we'll have to get into a little bit of that too. Then if you're down to go in. Cool. Well, before we delve into numerology and understanding more about it and get some sample readings from you, maybe you can give us a little background into your story. I always like, a little context. Like, how did you end up doing what you do and ending up here?
How did I get started in numerology? That's an awesome question. Everybody asks me that. It's my background is actually sales and marketing. And okay. I was in a network marketing company, and I was about 20 something years old. And my upline, my mentor, one day we were just chilling at Starbucks. One of our appointments didn't show up, and he's like, "Hey man, what's your birthday?" And I'm like, "Oh man, March 5th." And I told him on my birthday, the year and everything. And he told me, "Oh man, you're 2810. I'm like, "What's that?" And then he started explaining. I'm like, "Whoa, dude, that's trippy." Like, cause he started to explain and who I am and different things like that.
Wow. What did you say that you were though? I didn't quite catch that. What was your numerology? What was your number?
Well, I'm born on at 2810. 2810.
2810.
Yeah. Yes.
I see.
So with numerology, every number has a meaning and a significance to it.
Right.
And when he told me what that was, he was telling me what my life path number was. Mm-hmm. And that's when he introduced me to that concept. And then what he explained to me with the 2810 was how it would work and how it would influence. He told me, "Oh man, Steve Jobs has the same number, Martin Luther King has the same number."
Wow.
All these different
they were all 28. When you say 2810, and sorry to interrupt, I'll let you continue, but those are like three different numbers for three different numerological indicators then, right? That's because that's not just your life. Okay. Maybe you can get into that at some point.
Good. I want to hear what you were saying.
Yeah. So I was just curious because, I always think of, and I only know the basics about numerology is like the life path number, and it's one number, right? So when you say, you're saying like three different numbers there, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain them.
What that is, those are called layers.
Okay.
So those are called layers. From the jump street, he told me. So my full birthday is March 5th, 1991. So now everybody knows. They could look it up, see what the meaning is. When you add up 3 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 1, you get the number 28. And so then
my birthday.
Exactly.
That's my birthday. I'm July 28th. So
nice,
that's my birthday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have a lot of synchronicity around my birthday, actually, like a crazy synchronicity story, but maybe save that for another time or later in the show.
Yeah, man, I'm open to hear that. I'd love to hear it. Especially, you know what I mean? Now, we know my birthday equals 28. And so
yeah, totally.
Then the concept of numerology is adding each number until you get to one single digit. So you would add the 2 and then the 8, and that would give 10. So that's why I said 2810. And then you add the 1 and the 0, and then you get the 1. So it's 28, 10, 1. He told me about that. And that went way over my head. I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. Initially. He explained it a little bit to me, showed me, hey, look, this is the book we got it out of. The book that they introduced me to, for everybody that's listening, was The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan Millman. That was my first numerology book ever.
Wow.
And I just was so addicted to that book when I first, had the courage to look into it. Yeah. And I say had the courage because I was raised in a spiritual tradition that went against those things.
Right.
But I overcame that. And, when I started to read it, it just spoke so much to me. And it helped me to, make some really big decisions, helped me to stand in my power. Helped me to move out, helped me get my own place, helped me to move and start traveling and do all kinds of things, man.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
Wow.
That you started on this numerological journey, if you will?
Well, after I found out about that book, I found out about that book when I was like 20, around 20, maybe the end of being 19, early 20. And, then I took it out. It was very basic. It was just the life path. And that in itself at that time for me, because it was, that was all I could really handle at that time. If I would have picked up one of the numerology books that I look at now, or someone were trying to explain it, I would just been lost.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Just all the
got to start at the beginning, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, but then I just kept reading that. I would go to it whenever I needed to pick me up. And it just helped me to move forward, because it would say, hey, look, dude, this is why you're here. You're here to do this. You're here to inspire people. You're here to inspire yourself. You're here to be a trailblazer. You're here to do this and, help yourself come into your own authority and help other people come into their authority too. And, it would just remind me of that. Yeah. That's what the one is supposed to do. It's supposed to do it, and then other people see it, and then they say, I can do it too. Yeah. But what happened is, after I left that company, I was still studying it, because I just got so much from reading that book and from what it said about me. I kept studying. My knowledge went deeper. Then I found out, you can decode names. Started decoding names. Then I said, combine the name with the birthday. Oh, what's that? Oh, cool. Then, then I found another system of numerology from the East. And then I'm like, whoa, look at that. That's tight. And, it's called Chaldean numerology. Wow. And, I found out how to use that with, you know what I mean? During this time, then I started working for another sales company, going door to door, teaching people how to do this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had gotten a good reputation in the company. The CEO lives in Philly. One day he calls me up and says, hey, Darius, you want to come to the East? You want to come over to Philadelphia? And, we need some trainers out here to lead and start some of these offices in different cities and states. So I'm like, yeah, dude. I was 23 at that time. Yeah. So they flew me out there, and I still kept studying it. Then I was like, okay, let me see how this stuff really works. Let me experiment with this. Let me use this. Let me take it beyond just the book smart. Yep. You know what I mean? Just the book knowledge. So then I started using it to build teams, sales teams. Interesting. And I started using it to build sales teams. And I would know who to put with who and what city to send to where they would, make money and be successful at. Wow. There was a bit of trial and error at points. And then it would be like, oh man, then people started to hear about it, and they're like, oh dude, Darius. Yeah. He does that thing with the numbers. Yeah. And, it just kind of became known, and, positive rumors were spreading around in the company. And, then I had people ask me questions like, oh dude, how do you do it? Blah, blah, blah. So I would kind of show people, my colleagues, and I would, kind of teach them how to do it a little bit. Right. Now you can even use numerology to so you can take it. Do you have an applied method? So let's say, and you kind of indicating that, let's say I have a big decision to make in my personal life or my business life or whatever, where the same way with astrology, an astrologer will, can look at the stars at a given time or, whatever. Is it the same with numerology? Very similar. The way I say it is, astrology is the mother, numerology is the father, and the tarot is the son or the child. Oh, wow. Interesting. Interesting. The tarot is a combination of astrology and numerology, but also using symbolism and certain archetypes. Right. But yes, to answer that question, yes. I've heard that about
my friend who's a regular co-host on the show, Chris Jackson, he turned me on, introduced me not so long ago to destiny cards. And that's sort of, I don't know if you're familiar with destiny cards, but that's how he referenced destiny cards as sort of a combination of numerology and astrology. And, you know, are you familiar with destiny cards?
I've heard of destiny cards. I've not yet explored it.
Yeah. I think it would be something that, I think it'd be something that you'd be really interested to explore. It's like, you know, you've got the 52 cards in the deck, and, you know, you've got the 4 suits and the 4 seasons. There's 52 weeks in a year, 52 cards. You know, it's like, it's supposedly really ancient, you know, and that actually brings up a question that I'm curious about is the origins of numerology. I mean, is it one of those things where we just don't know when it was started, or is there a particular, you know, origin story?
Well, there's 2 ways to answer that question. The first one is kind of what you said, as far as, is it kind of like one of those things we just don't know? It's just so far back. In a way, yes, because we don't, just like we don't know exactly the first person who tracked the planet down. And, you know, it's a little uncertain as to the first person who said, oh, number 1 or 5 means this. But what we do know is that the science of numerology has existed as long as numbers have existed. Mm-hmm. And numbers they're symbols. Numbers are merely symbols of energies and frequencies.
Right. And
for instance, they just symbolize activities, thoughts, or behaviors, things that we do, circumstances. Like 2 or 1. 2 is cooperation and balance. So anytime we're cooperating, we're doing the 2. 3 is expression. Anytime we're expressing, we're doing the 3. 4 is stability and structure. Whenever we're establishing a foundation, we're doing the 4. 5 is freedom, travel. Whenever we're traveling, we're doing the 5. You know, and so on.
Wow.
And
interesting.
The Egyptians, numerology goes back to the Egyptian times. And even before. I have a friend who actually works with the Galactic Family of Light, Galactic Federation of Light as well. And
interesting.
She's a channeler, and she's actually becoming more well known. But the Galactics have been channeling to her what she refers to as cosmic or galactic numerology.
Wow.
Cosmic numerology. And we've been kind of sharing our thoughts, you know, back and forth about different meanings of numbers and such like that, you know. So, and they have a whole history of numbers too, as far as what from that galactic standpoint. So even before this planet, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So, I mean, there's just so many places you can go with numerology and astrology. And the tarot cards interact with our subconscious mind using the archetypes to bring out what's already there.
Right.
So it just kind of ties us all together.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me of when you said that, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever played with a Ouija board. When I was I used to, you know, when I was like in college, I would play quite a bit. And, you know, one of the things that occurred to me is like and that I think there's a lot going on there that's interesting, but I think it's kind of the same thing. I think it's a way for people to really access their subconscious, you know, much like you just described that the tarot does.
Yes, it does.
All these different tools are so fascinating.
And what they really do, all the tools, you know, with that, the tools operate in such a way so that they stimulate and activate our intuition. The tools exist to help us develop our intuition so we don't have to rely on them.
Right.
But at the same time, while we're using them, it's a lot of fun.
Right.
One of the crazy things about the Ouija board, I have a few stories actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
we love good stories anytime on this show.
Awesome. I got one for you.
Great.
First relationship that I had. Before right at the time that we met, or around that time, my former partner she actually had created her own.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, created her
Went
own.
there, huh?
Yeah, man, it was intense. And so it actually spelled out my name.
Oh, wow.
So she went on it before, we really were, talking. It spelled out my name, my name. And then it told her to call me after we had met.
Wow.
But the thing is, she had known about me before we actually had met. And I was just referred to as Snow Angel. And we actually met in the winter.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, man, that was intense. And there was another time, long time ago, back when I was in like third grade, I was at daycare. They had a Ouija board. They just got it. They're like, "Hey, Mom, we just got one from Toys R Us. Can we bring it outside?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I asked, this is a question that someone very important to me asked. They said, "What's the name?" And you're not supposed to ask this question to the Ouija board. But they did. And this is what they said. They said, "What is the name of the true God?" I was like, whoa, like that was third grade. And it spelled out, it actually spelled out Jehova. That's what it spelled out.
Cool.
And that was intense. That was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Then it spelled out some things I'm sure we can't say on radio. Just to let you know how that went down.
Yeah. That was my experience too. Back in the day playing with that is getting a lot of like weird, like angry sort of stuff coming through. But I remember one time having something really beautiful asking what, I think the question was, what is God like, or that, what is it like over there? It was one of those two questions. And it was like, the answer was so poetic that came through the board. It was like, snow-capped mountains, the breeze off of an ocean, like these beautiful, like poetic symbols were like spelled out. And we're like, whoa, that is it's always stuck with me. It was really, really beautiful.
And I'm glad you said that too, because that completely changes the note of it, in the sense that a lot of people hear so many scary stories about Ouija boards and all this stuff. Yeah. They're really talking boards. In fact, later on, as I learned more about them, I learned that there's a way to open it and then there's a proper way to close it. And a lot of people they make the mistake of not closing it when they're done.
Right. Interesting.
And just laying it flat down on the ground, because what that does, it opens a portal. And so, any type of entity can just go into your place or whatever. But if you do it right, then, you can eliminate the risk of that.
Yeah, right.
I got an angel board later on.
Cool.
An angel talking board. And it, just a different frequency. It has a certain energy associated with it. Doesn't attract lower entities, Right. More the positive frequencies in the astral realm.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, that just setting the intention, just like this is an angel board, it instantly is like imprinting. Okay, this is what is allowed through. This is what we're going to interact with, right?
Definitely. And then when I learned that it's good to have a piece of silver on the board when you're using it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely. Not only did I put a piece of silver on there, I put a piece of silver on the left side for the divine feminine. And then I put a gold nugget on the right side for the divine masculine. And had a representation of Archangel Michael, or some aspect, something representing the divine masculine, and then some aspect representing the divine feminine, to create the balance there.
Wow.
So there's different ways to work with the talking boards to make sure that everything is clean and done well.
Interesting.
Just so, because I know that people are listening, and I don't want to say, oh, don't mess with it. If you're going to mess with it, at least there's a certain way to do it.
Yep. And what's your intention going in? And we I didn't really intend to even get on this topic, but of course, that's what's great about these powwows. You never know where they're going to go exactly. I want to get back to numerology, but I will leave one little story that just popped into my mind that I kind of had forgotten about. One of the first times I heard about a Ouija board was my first girlfriend when I was 15 years old. Her mother swears up and down when she was like, I don't know, 12, 14, something like that. She was asking, who am I going to marry on a Ouija board?
Whoa.
And it came through saying her husband's name was Chris Riley. I'm sorry, not Chris Riley, David Riley. David Riley. And she went to school with a kid named David Riley and who she didn't like. And so she always remembered it because she's like, no, I would never marry him. Well, 12 years later or something, she met a different David Riley and that became her husband.
Oh, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you.
Cool story. So let's get back to numerology, shall we? Numerology origins, maybe, I don't know, maybe it would be a good time to give us an example of a reading, and then we can go a little bit further into the different, you talked about the layers. I know there's different, isn't there different? There's your life path number, and then there's an expression. Isn't there some different definitions like expression number or heart's desire number?
We call it a basic matrix. You want me to give you the rundown of what it is?
Yeah, why don't you do that first? Yeah, that probably makes more sense, and then you can do a little sample.
Okay. So in a basic matrix, there's what's called the life path. That's the sum total of the full birthday when added together. Mm-hmm. Then you have the expression number, and that's the sum total of the full name when added together.
Okay.
Then you have the performance number, and that is the sum total of the full name and the birthday added together.
Interesting.
Then you have the soul urge, which is a sum total of all the vowels when calculated.
Wow.
And added to a single digit. Then you have the nature, and that's the sum total of all of the consonants in a person's name. Wow. And that's the basic matrix. There's two that I left out, and those two are when you take the nature number, like all the consonants, you get a single digit. You add that single digit to the life path, and that gives you how that person's that gives you the material nature. And then you also do the same thing with the solar. So there's 7 components in a basic matrix that go into actual reading. And then aside from the basic matrix, there's timelines. There's personal years, personal months, personal days that are all calculated. And this is how we're able to measure the frequencies of future upcoming events for people. This is how we're able to say, hey, look, when you're 23, you'll experience this type of energy in your life. So, get ready for it right now. Make sure you're setting up things right now so you'll be able to optimize your future in this particular respect in life. Right. Look right here. When you're 33, you're going to experience a life shift around this type of thing. And we're able to, depending on, and there's multiple timelines that are coinciding simultaneously. Right. And it's like each different one is like a paint stroke on a picture. Wow. And that's a little bit more advanced, but just sticking to the basics. That basic matrix has about 7 different components. And I've been doing it, and I've done mine several times to see what's up. What does Darius need to know? Yeah. And by doing that, I've been able to understand other people as well. So, wow. Yeah, I had no idea it went quite so deep. Like I said, the only thing I've ever really looked up on my own is my life path. So I'd love to get your perspective on what the heck Brandon Beecham needs to know. Oh, yeah, man. I'd love to. Whenever.
All right. Well, now seems like a good moment to take a quick minute to tell those of you who aren't familiar a bit about our sponsor, Gaia. I've been a big fan of Gaia for many years now, which is why they're the only content provider I've ever reached out to in regards to potentially supporting this podcast. So needless to say, I'm very excited they're now supporting the show. Gaia truly is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web. They have an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. Just to give you an example, on the show Missing Links, the incredible researcher Greg Braden explores all the biggest questions concerning who we are, where we come from, where we're going, by connecting the missing links between science and spirituality to complete our understanding of humanity's history and to better understand the interconnectedness of all things. Awesome, right? And that's just one example. As you guys constantly hear me say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to go deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. So what do you need for, what would you need for me? You just need my birthday? A full name or both?
Yeah.
Or?
So how deep do you want me to go to calculate?
You know, you go as, we have time. So you go as deep as you feel inspired to go is what I would say. Obviously for me, it's going to be very interesting. And then listeners, I think will find interest. If not, they could always skip over. Right. But,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever you feel called to do, and this also gives people an example. One of the things, of course, that you're gracious enough to do that we talked about before recording is you're going to actually, this is what you do for a living, right? And you're actually going to give a special deal to Positive Head listeners. So this is a great way for them to kind of get an example of what they could expect. So, whatever you're feeling though, if you want to do the whole thing, I'd be certainly interested if, or some portion thereof. I'm easy breezy. So
cool. It will just take me a moment so I can write it down and add it
sure.
up. Okay. One moment. Let me just, all I need is for you to tell me your birthday.
Okay. It is
your full name as it appears on the birth certificate.
Got it. Okay.
Let's start with the birth.
Birthday is 7/28/74.
What's really interesting is if your year of birth, 1974, 1 + 9 + 7 + 4 = 21. The way that you're supposed to do it in numerology is day first, month second, and year last. So the way that looks is 28, 7, 21, because your year adds up to the number 21. But if we add the month to the year, it equals 28. So your birthday really looks like 28/28, which is
wow. And that's as I was telling you, like I have about a 10-minute July 28th synchronicity story that just continues to unfold in my life, like in wild ways. So that's interesting to hear.
And then what's your full name as it appears on the birth certificate?
On the birth certificate, it's Brandon, Brandon. And then
Randon. Middle name?
Mm-hmm. Brent, Brent.
Brent.
And then Beecham, which is like the beach, Beach, and UM.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to take a moment and just calculate this. Okay.
All right.
So I got a nice little basic matrix, and I have a little bit of the year for you, this current year, the upcoming year, and then the next few months for you as well.
Stellar.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So, man, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, just jump right in.
All right, cool. So for Brandon Brent Beecham. Okay, so you're
My
born on
mom
the
liked
28th.
bees.
Huh?
I think I'm supposed to learn to bee or something. My mom liked bees.
Bees. Actually, you're all that equals 6. All that equals 6. B plus B plus B, because B is the second letter in the alphabet, so that's 2.
Okay.
So that's 2, 4, and then 6. So that's actually 222. That's what your initials would be.
Interesting.
Would be literally the letter B. No, but anyway, you're born on the 28th of July. The number 28 is an incredible networker's number. Okay. And it's made up of the number 2 and 8. 2 is cooperation and balance, also communication. 8 is also 8 is abundance and power. And it deals with structure as well. See, Mercury is the second celestial body, and the sun is the first celestial body. So the sun would be 1, then Mercury could be represented as 2. And so Mercury is ruled by communication. Mercury rules communication. So we have communication. And then 8 is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn makes rings. Saturn makes structures and boxes and containers. So communication box. We're communicating on a communication box. You're using a communication box.
Totally.
Funny thing is, Steve Jobs was also a life path 28. And what did he create? He created a communication box.
Right.
So that we could communicate, right? And so the 28, it also, because the 2 is cooperation, balance, it deals with others and relationships. 8 is also the number of integration, connection. That's why it has the association with networking. And 28, when we add them together, 2 and 8 gives us 10. And then the 1 and the 0 gives us 1. So it's associated with the celestial body, the sun, which naturally rises to the top. It rises. And it would indicate that would be a pattern in the life of anyone that has this, the 28. Very strong number. You have July being the 7th. That's your month. And this indicates 7 is a number of the philosophy, the mind, the truth, finding the truth, teaching your truth, expressing it, finding out what that truth is for you. It tends to work very hard at whatever it does, and can it also kind of tells us a little bit about how the house would be. Kind of the furnishings in the house, how a person living, that's what the month gives us indications of. And the 7 is really about analyzing and finding the truth of things underneath the surface. We look at the year, it equals 21 from your year. That gives us 3. 3 is expression and sensitivity. And it's also a number of positivity and optimism. And these are some of the traits, and this characterizes more of the lifestyle. When we look at the year, it tells us a little bit about how the lifestyle of the person will be as they grow up and as they mature. 3 the number 3 is definitely a number. It has to overcome certain things related to heavy emotions, overcoming depression. And this is a pattern that's noticed. But we have the 2, and that's cooperation, and the self, which is cooperating inwardly, balancing our self-interest with the interests of others, and being able to see, things from 2 different sides. Then we have the year. Excuse me, not the year. When we add that up, when we add the day of your birth to the month to the year, that gives us 56 altogether specifically. Which 56, when we add that we got the 5, which is freedom and discipline, freedom and travel, and 6 which is also the balance of family and responsibilities along with self-interest and what we actually really want to do versus what we really have to do. Can represent a pull on us regarding, what our personal interests are. And actually, I'll just, the number 56 happens to be an incredibly sensual number when it comes to interacting with other members of the opposite sex. It's very sensual. 5 and 6 gives us 11. 11 is the master number. So whenever we see a repeating number in numerology, like 11 or 22 or 333, some of your listeners probably see 333 and 444. There's a reason for that. But whenever we see a double number like 11, that's what's referred to as a master number. And it's kind of a big deal when you have one in your chart, especially in your life path like you do, Brandon, because the life path 11 is a master intuitive. Also a master inspirer. And the reason why, 11 is an incredibly sensitive vibration. So it makes you very sensitive. And also sensitive to other people's energies. Other people's energies, meaning that it creates highly empathic opportunities for you to really tap into your energy, to tap into other people's energy. In fact, when you were telling me about the Ouija board earlier and you mentioned, I used to do it. Sometimes when people have 11, especially people who are born on the 11th or the 29th, the spirits tend to like that energy of those people and kind of hang around with them.
Interesting.
And then when we add that, but when we take the 11, it's the master intuitive. It has these abilities, but it's also an inspirer. It loves to inspire. 11 represents illumination as well. But it's important to make sure that this is balanced with the connection to source, because if it's not, then the 11 can
be a cult leader.
It can be a cult leader, but it can also be anxious, a lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety, but the connection to source helps to balance that out. In fact, 11 is a number that's highly prevalent in kids who are misdiagnosed with ADHD.
Interesting.
ADD, ADHD, because 11 is such a high energy number, high potency. Children with it have like really high levels of energy inside this little body. It creates that look that way, like, oh, that kid must have ADD or ADHD.
In my case, it was like, what are you on? Like, so much of my life, like, dude, what drug are you on? Why are you so like, sort of like your eyes, like they look like they're about to bug out of your head, and you're like wired,
it's misjudgment, And
I feel like I'm plugged into a light socket is all.
Right. It's that high level energy that's running through the body, you see. Yeah. And it was so interesting that I have had a very close relationship with a child that was diagnosed with that, and his life path is 11, and his full name adds up to 11 also.
Wow.
So he was really, and 11s make excellent channelers. 11 also represents the subconscious mind versus the conscious mind. It's like a mirror. It's like a mirror of the mind, of the soul to itself. And then when we add the 11, the 1 and the 1, we get 2, which is cooperation and balance. So just similar to you, I mentioned earlier that 2 represents Mercury. Traditionally, 2 represents the moon as well. And the moon has 2 sides. One side we've seen and one side that we haven't seen unless we've done some astral traveling. Right. And, but that side that we haven't seen, what it really represents is the part of the moon that covers things up. It conceals. It's known to conceal things. It's very good at keeping secrets. But the 11 is illumination, and it kind of shines those things. And it's so funny. We happen to be in the year 2018, which adds up to 11. So this is a
Right.
year that actually coincides with your life path, Brandon.
Right.
Which is pretty interesting. But that's why you see a lot of the stuff in the fake news, a lot of stuff being hidden up for many years, coming to light, because it's the 2. Okay, yeah, that was hidden, but now it's 11 is bringing it to the light.
Right.
You know, and so we have there's a lot of interesting things to, you know, consider when we're doing that and how it's affecting you this particular year. When we take your name, Brandon Brent Beecham, and we add that together, the first name equals 5, the middle name equals 5, and then the last name equals 8. And then when we total it all out together, let me tell you what that means though. The first name tells us about how you interact with people socially, what people feel from you, like what type of person you are socially. 5 is freedom. 5 is travel. 5 is the medium. 5 is the media. 5 is the salesperson. 5, look at the number 5. Where does it appear on the phone? Right in the middle of all the other numbers. It's the planet Mercury. You know, it's a traditional numerology has it lined up with the planet Mercury. You know, the one who's ruled by Mercury is Hermes, the messenger god, communication, travel, all these different things like that. And you happen to be involved in these things.
It's not weird that I have a podcast and own a travel company then.
Dude, you're totally doing you're totally doing it. You're living that stuff, bro. Like that's what this is about. You're living it.
Right.
You know, and, you know, congratulations to you, you know, for that.
Thanks, man.
And
Thank you.
Your middle name equals 5 also. And this talks about what you're like hidden, like what's inside that, you know, may go unnoticed by others or, you know, not mostly seen. But what's really cool about yours is that your middle name matches your first name. So even that, your passion it comes out even in what you do. Like your secret desire comes out in what you actually do in your life.
Right.
You know, which is even cooler.
Yeah.
And then the last name, Beecham, that equals 8. 8 is the abundance and power, connection, disconnection. It's also structure. You know, a shape with 8 sides is a box. A shape with 8 points is a box. A cube has 8 points. A rectangle has 8 points. And it's a structure. And 8, you know, that being the case, the last name tells us some of the family traditions that were passed down to us through the years from family, ancestors. And 8, if it's your last name, then what that would indicate is that to a greater or lesser degree, the quality, 8 is considered also a money number as well. Money number, like success, but some of the values, making sure you use good judgment in managing money and finances, make sure that solid structures and foundations are set. These types of values carried down in the family. You know, having all your bricks laid down, all your ducks in a row, and and so on like that. Making sure that, you know, when you do go to social events, 8 is a very social number. So you know, if this is something from the family, then it would indicate some type of social aspect. Some type of tendency to be very social coming from the family, in some way, shape, or form from either the mother's side or the father's side, or whoever carried the name Beecham. And when we add the total number altogether, now that gives us 9. And this is the expression number. So your expression number is 9. Now, every number. Now, you're probably going to have some listeners on here saying, "Oh man, well, hey, Brent, Brandon, he's only telling you the positive stuff. He's not telling you any of the other stuff." Well, yes,
Right.
there is. You know what? And to those people, yes, there are two sides to every number. In fact,
Yep.
there's a positive polarity and a negative polarity.
Yep.
When looking at the numbers, one number has an entire universe of meaning associated to it. So there's so much that you can say about a person that's carrying a particular number.
Yeah.
And there could be two people carrying the same exact number. And many times what we'll say will resonate with both of them. In fact, most of the time. You meet 5 different people that are born on the 27th or born on the 29th. There's several traits that each one of them will say, "Yup, that's right. Yup, that's right. Yup." Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then there's certain numbers, like the number 5, for instance. 5 is a number of freedom, but it's also a number of addiction. And it's also a number of breaking free from addiction, witnessing addiction, being around people who are addicted to things. It's related to slavery. It's related to scarcity mindset thinking. It's related to the sense of uncertainty that is experienced through change. And yet it also represents all the other things too, the positive,
the other
aspects.
side of the coin. Right.
Interesting. The 6 represents love, balance, harmony, but whoa, hold up. On the other side, that 6 can represent jealousy, hate, extremes, delusion, and, selfishness. It can represent, all the numbers have 2 extremes.
Which makes sense. We're in the realm of duality, right? I mean, everything in the physical dimension is duality, and so that just makes a whole lot of sense.
Exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned that just now. And so, like when doing readings like this, when I do a private reading, like in private one, then I'll speak more about like, a person should work on this, this, and this when it's in private. But there's certain things that I won't say on air when I'm looking at a chart. Yeah. And I'm just throwing that out as a disclaimer to anybody that's, Darius is just saying the positive stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Totally.
And, I mentioned this earlier when, before, how do I do the reading? If there's such a universe of meaning to one number, how do I know which part applies to it? And that's where the intuitive part comes in. There's this intuition that kind of, like I see the number or I write it down or whatever I do. And the part that's relevant for that particular person is the part that will come up as far as how it relates to this individual.
Right.
And some pretty private things will come up in a reading without me being aware, just by me. I'm just saying it. And then this person gets, like, whoa, oh my gosh. I'm like, whoa, and it creates a totally new dialogue and raises things up to be healed.
Wow.
And addressed. But continuing, your full name, when added together, adds up to 9. And 9 is, it's characteristic by, it's known as wisdom and integrity. And it's also associated with the planet Chiron. Chiron's one of those planets out there not a lot of people hear about, but Chiron is the wounded healer. And that being the case, people with the number 9 tend to experience, things in life that make them grow up a little bit quicker or earlier or sooner than others. And they experience different things in life, like sometimes traumatic things, because part of their purpose on the planet is to help people heal through similar traumatic experiences.
Right.
And The 9 is typically, it's associated with older souls who've been here before and are coming to share their wisdom with others, which is why people with 9 often feel frustrated because other people around them just don't seem to get it.
Yeah.
At least that's how a person with the 9 feels like, man, nobody gets it. What's up, man? It's common sense. You know?
I've said that many times in my life. It's like, how is everyone not tripping out on all the same stuff that I am? Like, hold on. You're so concerned with like these base level things. It's like, aren't you tripping out on the fact that we're God in the physical and we've had amnesia to that fact, and now we're waking up and we can create anything? And, I mean, especially years back, you know what I mean? Now I have this wonderful outlet and community ever growing, friends and, so forth around me who get it. But man, there was some definitely years in the past where I'm like, what am I like in the Twilight Zone? No one else is like tripping out on this.
Yeah, dude, it's totally ask and here's the thing, remember that those things that people can relate to, ask anybody that has a 9 life path or their full name equals 9, and they will share the same sentiments with you.
Interesting.
And that's where it gets very, very interesting when you have people have a shared similarity with you.
Yeah.
And you start to hang out with people that have your number. Not that you only do that, but it's just interesting, that's when you're experimenting with this stuff and like seeing, oh man, it is beyond just the books, and this stuff can actually like be lived and experienced. Right. And what you said about living, as God in the flesh, as, having this experience, this type of consciousness, and you understand the concept, but at the same time, you're seeing it you're actually experiencing the moment, the feeling of the realization, whereas they're embracing the concept. Mm-hmm. You already embraced the concept, but you are past that. And now you're like experiencing the reality of it. Right. And so you're like, oh my gosh, how are you not like affected by this? Right. But look, just like you said, now you have a platform. Look at the shape of the 9, dude. Look at the shape. This is how we get some of the meanings of it. The shape of the 9 is like a circle that's up, like it's an elevated circle, which is the mind. And then there's like a stick or like a pole or a stand. And it's actually sharing its wisdom with those on the earth, on the planet.
Interesting.
Sharing its healing energy. That's what 9 does. Wow. That's why 9 is associated with fame. It's associated with recognition, mass recognition, and appealing to the masses. Elvis Presley was a 9 life path. Mother Teresa was a 9 life path. A lot of things like that. And what they did is in different areas, they did what they did. That your full name comes out to the 9, and your performance is what we get when we add the life path to the full name. And that gives us also a 2, but from the 11. And so what performance represents is what you actually do, what you actually experience in this lifetime. Because the life path tells us what, you're here to become, what you're here to learn. In fact, for those that are taking notes, the life path tells us the list, LIST, the list, lessons, influences, subjects, and themes.
Cool.
I got this from one of my mentors, Richard King. He shared a lot of information with me. I met him last year, actually. Awesome guy. Cool. I just got to I'm giving him credit because that's a concept that he shared with me.
Yeah.
But the list, right? That's what the life path tells us: our lessons, influences, subjects, and themes. And it has, that's what we're going to become. Whereas the full name, it is who we already are now. Right. Some numerologists will have varying opinions on that and say, oh no, it's your destiny, it's who you're to become. But when we actually take a real close look at it, we closely resemble the expression number, the full name. That's who we actually are. And so you're a 9. You're the 9 is also the humanitarian. 9 is, you're the 9. You're this guy who likes to help people, likes to heal people, and you're here to become this intuitive person that helps people to cooperate and get along, and a team player. And yet, when we add that together, it comes out to a 2 again. So what you actually experience is that. And again, 2 is communication. Look at what you're doing. You're doing it. Right. And 9 is mass appeal. 9 is the public. 9 is like getting this stuff out there. That's what you're doing. You're doing it. You're getting it out there. 11 is this inspirer. And you know what? What's your show called? Positive Heads. You're helping people to be positive. Right. So then when we take a look at the soul urge, this is what motivates you. Also, this is a number to really pay attention to when looking for, your next relationship. Okay. Whether it's business, romantic, whatever kind of relationship a person is you're looking for. The soul urge number is very important. And I'll explain in a moment. Yours is 3. So what that means is when I add up all the vowels in your name, Brandon, and reduce it to a single digit, I get the number 3, this tells me what brings you satisfaction, what brings you fulfillment, earthly fulfillment in this lifetime. 3. 3 is expression and sensitivity. Dude, what are you doing right now? What's your show doing? It's expressing. And not just that, but 3 is also authentic expression. You're authentically expressing yourself, and you're helping other people authentically express themselves too. You know, and that's why what you're doing brings you fulfillment. It brings you this joy, this the excitement. Then when take the soul urge, that 3, and add that to the life path, I get the material soul. And again, I'm going to give credit to Richard King because he shared this bit with me. The material soul comes out to 5. 5 again, freedom and discipline. And not just that, but your first name equals 5 and your middle name equals 5. Right. And I remember, now, is this too much too fast or?
No, this is awesome, dude.
All right, cool. Just let me know if you have any questions too.
Yeah. No, this is great.
Awesome. Now, the thing is, what's so interesting is this, okay? So I mentioned to you that the soul urge is the 3. Then when I take it and I get the material soul urge, it equals 5, right? So your first name equals 5, your middle name equals 5, and the last name equals 8. But remember, we reduce it to a single digit. So what was that 8 before I reduced it to the single digit 8? It actually was 53. 5 and 3. So your name literally is like 5553. Right. And your soul urge is 3 and 5. So you have, and it just so happened I'm born on March 5th, 3-5.
Oh, right. Wow. That's cool.
Interesting thing.
Little tie-in.
Yeah, and also your performance is 2, and my year 1991 adds up to the number 2 when added. My mind just goes to these different places when I'm doing this.
Right, cool.
Your nature, all the consonants in the name equals 6. So when people meet you or when they interact with you, so the consonants in that name shows what your first impression is, what people feel from you. Okay. 6 is, like I mentioned, love, harmony, and balance. It's also the counselor. It is a very nurturing number. Anytime you're nurturing somebody, petting a cat or a dog or any type of animal or showing love to someone, you're doing the 6.
Yeah.
Anytime
definitely a nurturer.
Helping, exactly. And guess what? That's why so many people come to you and say, "Hey, Brandon, can you help me out with this? I need to talk." Right. Oh, I need this. And, they just want, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. No, I said it in that way because it can become taxing. Right. Yeah. It can be. when the proper boundaries aren't set.
Right.
You know, and then having trouble saying no sometimes, you know.
I just had a conversation all about that this morning.
Yep. And, you know, having trouble saying no because of this feeling of obligation that, you know, I'm in a position where I know how to help this person emotionally. And,
right.
you know, and everybody brings all their problems and stuff like that. And there's a sense of obligation to help. But and even not even just holding space, but doing things, activities for people that even include monetary things like money favors for people, you know, and stuff like that. And,
right.
You know, being able to say no and then stand in that and not, you know, give into that obligation guilt pattern, which a lot of, you know what, and don't feel like it's just you, because, you know, everyone that's listening to your show right now, everybody is probably experiencing that. Why? I'll say most people. Mm-hmm. Why is because the collective is experiencing it right now. Right. The collective is currently experiencing the release of the obligation guilt pattern. Wow. And also the collective is working on creating and setting boundaries. The collective is also working on what, as far as self-worth is concerned, you know, right. These are all things that have recently, within the past few weeks, risen to the surface in the mind of the collective. And anyone listening to the show at this current time will probably be able to relate to that. And they'll be like, wow. Yo, that's so true. Oh my gosh. Yo. And it's all it is, dude, it's the collective. That's what it is. Right. But the fact that you have the 6 in there puts a little bit more emphasis on it, right? So then when we add that 6 to the life path, we have the 8. It gives us 8. So you have a nature 6 and a nature 8. These are energies that people feel from you when they first meet you, right? They sense this nurture, this person that they can just go up to and just unload. But at the same time, the 8 is a very social number that's very outgoing and extroverted. Very extroverted, so they sense that about you, at least on the surface end of it. You know, but at the same time, the 9 is a little bit more, the 9 can be a bit more reclusive. So while appearing to be extroverted, there are times when then it needs to recharge its mind. For sure. You know, and it's not exactly the introvert, but it has similar introverted tendencies. You have a real strong, your first name, all the vowels in Brandon actually comes out to 7, and that is the introvert number. So it basically says, like, hey guys, look, I can hang out, I can chill and talk and network and be around everybody, but then I'm gonna go and read a book and see you guys later. Totally. Totally. Type of thing like that, you know. Yep. So that is a little kind of a brief or a summary, I guess, of your basic matrix. Dude, that was awesome. That's definitely a deeper dive than I've ever taken into my numerology. Like I said, I just scratched the surface with the life path number. So that it's so fascinating how many layers there are, you know what I mean? And how much everything is, how much, what's beautiful about the picture you paint, even bringing in the planets and like, it's like, or even bringing in the shape of the 9, like everything is just embedded with symbology, like on everything, everywhere we look, and it's all like hiding in plain sight. It's Absolutely. So fascinating. The mirrors, like there's just mirrors everywhere. And there's so much more. Like it's just like it's crazy. Like that's like this tip of the iceberg, right? It is because that's the basic matrix. Wow. Yeah. But even that though, I mean, that right there, like to me, when I first found out about numerology, if somebody would have said all this to me, my head would have just overloaded. Yeah, like right. I mean,
Well, the good thing is our listeners have been pretty primed, so they've definitely they can handle it. And I have a feeling you'll have quite a few that reach out that would like to do this work with you and explore. So that's super cool. One thing that you said, just one last thing, you had mentioned you took a peek at what you saw based off my numerology in the coming, I can't remember if you said coming months or something like that. I'd love to hear what that is, obviously.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that to my attention. Really glad that you did, because I wanted to touch on that.
Cool.
So we have these things in numerology called personal months, personal years, personal days. We measure them with different timelines. They all coincide simultaneously. There's several different timelines, like the personal year timeline, which is a calculation I do. I'll just tell you how I get it. You add the day plus the month plus the current year that you've had a birthday in. That will tell you, then you reduce that to a single digit, and that will tell you what personal year you're in. And you look up the meaning of whatever that number is for those of you that are listening, and there you go. And it'll give you characteristics of what you will experience, the energy frequencies. Personal month, you do the same thing, add the day plus the month plus the current year. And then you just add that sum total to the current month. And you get the personal day, you just add the day to that. And that's simply how you do all three of those. And I'll just tell everyone so they can do it on their own. Cool. And if they want some help understanding that, then, just hit me up. But aside from that, for you, Brandon, when we look at yours, before I touch on that, there's the personal year, then there's the age timeline that goes by the current age, then there's the universal timeline. Now, some little bit more advanced stuff is, now I couldn't conceive this when I first started, but your name also acts as a clock.
Oh, wow.
Meaning every letter in your name tells me how your life will be during that period of time. For instance, B equals 2 because it's the second letter in the alphabet. So the fact that your name starts with B, I know that the first 2 years of your life will be characterized by 2 energies specifically related to the meaning of the letter B. What does B mean? Oh man, it means a whole bunch of stuff. Then the next letter is R. R is the 18th letter in the alphabet. But when we bring it down to 1 digit, it comes out to 9. So we know that that period of time will last for 9 years of you experiencing that particular energy frequency.
Interesting.
And of the energy frequency of the letter R. So yes, the numbers mean something and the letters also mean something. So then when we take Brandon and add it up all the way completely, it equals, remember I mentioned that it equaled 5, but to be a little bit more specific, it equals 32 by the time we've added Brandon all the way together.
Right. Before 32. You reduced it to 5. Yeah.
Exactly. And so what that means is it will take you 32 years to completely transit the entire energy of the name Brandon.
Wow. Interesting.
And then Brent kicks in at about 33, which would indicate some type of a life shift around 32, 33. And Brent equals 23. So it would take you 23 years to go along through the name transit of Brent.
Interesting.
So that would mean by the time you're 55, 5 and 5, again, we got the 5 and 5. By the time you're 55, you would experience another shift in life. And then Beecham would just last for the next 26 years. Or, from that point on, because that we got the 53, like I mentioned earlier. And then we also get the 26 as another layer, a sub layer. So it just goes so deep. I won't really go into it so much at this moment.
Right.
But
wow.
Going to where you're at right now, you're in a personal 9 year. Okay. You're in a personal 9 year. And 9 is a number of completions, endings, conclusions as it relates to time. It also relates to things being healed because we have that healing energy. It's also a time when dealing a little bit more so with the public. And you see, that's what the energy here is. So, and this period of time started on July 28th of 2017. 2017, July 28th, and it will conclude.
My last birthday.
Yep, your last birthday. It will conclude on July 28th, 2018.
Okay.
So you have about 2 months more of this 9 energy frequency.
That's really interesting because I set an intention for a big shift by my next birthday. That was like sort of just a personal timeline that I set in my own like professional life that a big transition that I'm calling in to make. So it's interesting that it's a year of completion and you're saying on my birthday because I've actually set that as dude. My own intention, which is pretty interesting.
Wow, you're just already like you're super in tune with it. You know what I mean?
And I had a big meeting just before this call that is a big step in the direction of that being manifested. Like after setting that intention months and months back, like literally an hour before this conversation, like a big meeting happened. That's like, oh wow, this just got a lot more feasible to that happening by my birthday timeline that I loosely set to manifest this thing. So pretty cool.
Wow. Thank you for having me on to, be able to share this. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, man.
There's more. Would you like to hear?
Yeah, but wait, there's more. Yes, is that a trick question?
But wait, there's more. Okay.
I added it up and it's only $19.99
with shipping and handling.
So good.
So you got the 9. We got the completion. So this concludes on your next birthday, which is awesome. Everything you shared with me, you're on track. You're on point. Okay. So once this personal year is done, you're going to be entering into a personal 1 year. Okay. This is where new opportunities and things come into play. All right. So there was some things that you probably let go of, old relationships, people, the circumstances, situations, and places that no longer serve you. You probably have let go, or they're on the way of leaving out, or, you're thinking of, oh man, should I get rid of this or that? Maybe you've already done it. Whatever has left your life during this particular time will be replaced during the next 9 years because you're starting a new 9-year cycle after your birthday. This upcoming year after your birthday is going to be a great time to launch any new projects, start any new things that you really want to last because it will bless you 7 years down the line. Wow.
That's cool. Because that's really that's my intention is like a big switch in in my part of my career outside of this. So yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, man. Yep. And so you're on trajectory. You're on your and a lot of time that's what the purpose of the numerology reading is. It's kind of like, hey universe, how are we doing? It's like, dude, you're doing good. All right, cool. That's all we want.
That reiteration, like that affirmation from the universe is definitely helpful.
Definitely. I appreciate, being able to share this info.
Yeah, dude, this has been incredible. So for those who want to reach out and would love to have you, give them a numerological reading, what is first off, you and I talked before we started recording, and you're willing to give a special discount to Positive Head listeners, which is epic and super appreciated, because I know there's going to be some people out there that want to have it done. So maybe you can explain what that is, what that, P-Head promo, if you will, is, and then how people would reach you to have their own reading done.
So if people connect with me through Facebook, I'm Darius Oliver. My picture looks like a picture of me with a half of a lion's face on it. It's going to say Divine Numerology decoder. And
I just added him in the Facebook group, guys, just FYI. So we have a Facebook group, Positive Heads, and anyone listening who's not there, join. And now, Darius, I just added you into the group so they can easily find you there.
Thank you. For those Positive Heads that are listening to this, you call me, and when you call me, my number is 209-898-4103. That's 209-898-4103. I charge $3 per minute for my session, so that's $180 per hour. But you call and you tell me, hey, I'm a Positive Head, then that's going to knock off $60 from the reading for you.
So you're basically taking it from $3 an hour to $2 an hour.
Exactly.
Epic. That's pretty cool of you. That's very, very cool of you, actually. Thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. It's my pleasure and my privilege and my honor, to be a part of what you're creating, and I thank you for inviting me, on this platform to share.
Absolutely, man. It's been a blessing, as I knew it would from the moment we met. We talked for a few minutes. I'm like, okay, your vibe is epic. You do cool stuff. Please come on and bless us up. So I appreciate that. And, I have one question that I always like to ask, and I'm curious, I love stories of synchronicity or serendipity or positive paranormal stories, anything juicy like that. Curious if you have anything, or maybe even have something that ties into numerology. I don't know, but do you got any? And it doesn't have to tie into numerology. Just thinking out loud. I mean, any good story like that you'd care to share before we close out here? Yeah. Any story of synchronicity, serendipity, positive paranormal story?
That'd just be so funny. You're like, no, man, I don't got it. but yeah, I do. I have I could sit here for like a while and tell you for days.
I bet you could.
You called me and we were on the road. Today, I'm born on the 5th. So one of the things that I want to share too is that you guys can use the day of your birth to your advantage. I'm born on the 5th. Today's the 23rd. 2 and 3 equals 5. So I actually use the numbers in that way to my advantage. Like when I set up appointments or things like that, I usually like to do them on days that equal 5, like 14th, 23rd, and the 5th. And, that can give some really good, awesome results in your life. But as far as like little synchronicities and such, I eat, drink, breathe, and sleep numerology and reflexology. And, for me, I'm really a big person on angel numbers and seeing numbers that are around me and then, finding out what they mean. But for a while, dude, like repeating number 2s and 7s have been appearing to me. I'm repeating 2s and 7s. I'm 27 years old. I've been seeing it before I was 27. We were on the road and just kept seeing exit 722. License plate 772. We pull up somewhere and the phone number says 77222. And trippy. It's trippy. And last night I was doing some calculations for my own self. Like to see, okay, so what's Darius need to know about like these upcoming months? So, like I was telling everybody, you can do it like personal year, personal month and stuff. So I'm like doing my personal day, and I made a calendar. I made my own personal calendar for the month of, for the remainder of May, for the month of June and the month of July. And I'm like paying attention. And I'm like, oh, okay, hold up. I got an age calculator, and the age calculator says that I've been living like 9,900 and something days, down to the exact day. And so I'm like paying attention. On July 22nd, we're going to have an event down in Southern California. July 22nd, that's 7/22. And right around that point is when I have lived my 10,000th day of life.
Oh, cool.
But what the whole significance of that is, for me as a numerologist and as a reader, if I'm seeing somebody else have that, I'm going to say, dude, pay attention, because that's going to mark some significant change, some significant new start in your life.
Cool.
And it just so happened to line up with the whole 7/22 and all this stuff that I've been seeing for all this time.
Right.
I don't know if that's exactly like a synchronicity so much.
Yeah, no, totally.
Maybe,
that's good. Yeah.
Like to me, it's like, whoa, what the heck? But
that's good, dude. Sorry, go ahead.
Something a little bit more synchronicitous that more people will probably be able to relate to is the fact that your first name, Brandon, equals 5, and your middle name equals 5. And the day that we're doing this is the 5th month on the 23rd day, which also equals 5, 2 and 3.
Wow.
And the year that we're in is 2018, which comes out to a 2, and your life path is a 2.
And when you messaged me right here when we were about to start, thumbs up, guess what time it was? 5:55. I can see the timestamp when you messaged me.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. It's beautiful. And it just goes on and on, man. The layers of the onion. I mean, it's so incredible.
Were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say, then I had, just had my last powwow where he talked about 555 being a significant turning point for him. Anyway, that's what he views it as. So that just came up the other day as well.
Exactly. And that 555 was it's a really strong indicator of change you're experiencing now or change that you'll soon experience.
Right.
And it's really interesting that it shows up for you, considering the context of the conversation, as far as the changes that you're going to be, having pretty soon after your birthday. That's just 2 months away.
Yeah. Exciting, man. Super exciting. Well, Darius, you are epic, my friend. This has been so cool. And I know the listeners really appreciate you offering to hook them up if they feel called to, get a reading with you. And we'll definitely have to circle back around and do this again, because I feel like this is a rabbit hole we could go down.
Definitely.
We've like scratched the surface, right? So again, and I'm sure I'll see you when you're going to be in Southern California. Where at in Southern California for the event? And is it something that's for the general public or open public, or is it?
Yes, it's something open to the public. In fact, if you want to find out exactly, if you want to actually, book a session in advance, you can call me. We're going to be doing a numerology show. It's going to be, me and my mentor, we were on the road just now. And we just finished an event in Carlsbad.
Okay, cool.
Down south. Now we're back in north. Yeah. But go to newearthevents.com.
Okay.
newearthevents.com. And you will see the entire list of events that we have planned. Whether they're in Northern California or Stockton. We even have a Stockton 7/7 festival. We got a Los Angeles July 15th festival. And then the one on the July 22nd is San Diego.
Okay, cool.
San Diego for those that are interested. And that will be at the Crown Plaza Hotel. Wow. And the address is 2270 Hotel Circle North.
On 722 at 2270.
Yep.
The circle is complete.
Yep. There it is.
Beautiful. There it is.
So everybody, I'm going to be there. I look forward to seeing everyone. We're also going to be at on July 15th, just to let everyone know, at the Garland Hotel. The address is going to be 4222 Vinland Avenue.
Cool.
Okay. That's going to be July 2018 on a Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's Los Angeles. And then one more time, the San Diego is going to be July 22nd on a Sunday, 2018, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Crown Plaza Hotel, 2270 Hotel Circle North, San Diego, California. Then we have another event on August 4th. That's going to be a Saturday. That date and time is Saturday, August 4th, 2018, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Location is going to be Huntington Beach Center for Spiritual Living, 7641 Talbot Avenue, Huntington Beach, California.
Oh, cool. Cool. I will definitely try and make that one. I'm literally about 10 minutes from there where I live. So I will put that one on my calendar. August 4th, you say, huh? So if you guys come out to that one, I'm going to pencil it on to be there as well. So love to see your shiny, happy faces there.
Nice. We got, and if you click right there below where it says expand schedule, it's going to show you the next all the way down through the year. We have me and Dean, I'm one of the co-producers. We got a 7/7 event, a 9/9 event, and an 11/11 event as well throughout the year coming up. So just to mention those things too. So we have a whole list of shows that we're going to be having down the line.
All right.
Go to New
all
Earth.
on the website.
Yep. Go to newearthevents.com. You'll be able to see it all. You can get a free pass on there as well, so you don't have to pay $10 entry fee. And just go there and you'll find all that information. If you guys want to get a hold of me, my phone number is area code 209-898-4103. That's 209-898-4103. I can do a reading over the phone. If you're local, I can meet you in person. If you're across the planet, we can meet Facebook video chat. So
beautiful.
Those are some of the different ways to reach me. And my email address is divinenumerology1@gmail.com. That's divinenumerology1@gmail.com. All one word.
Epic. Darius, thank you, my friend. You are super amazing. I've so appreciated this. And I do have one last question to ask you before I let you go here. And the question is, in 60 seconds or less, what is the meaning of life according to Darius Oliver?
The meaning of life is to find out why we're here and live it. Yeah. Find out what we're here to do and do it. And inspire people and help them to do the same.
Yeah.
According to their free will choice.
Beautiful. Darius, thank you for exercising your free will choice and coming on and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. This has been so insightful and inspiring. You're an inspiration, my friend. Until next time, journey well.
Thank you very much, my friend. You have an awesome day, and thank you for this experience, this moment. It's an honor, privilege, and a blessing. And I look forward to talking to you again. And you have an awesome day.
Yeah, you too. Well, everyone, that concludes this week's interview episode. If you have enjoyed this positive download from our hearts and minds to yours, please take a minute, give us a rating or review on iTunes. Since iTunes is the holy grail of all things podcasting, your good reviews help us to reach more listeners. Also, we would be extremely appreciative if you would tell your friends and family about the show. Our sincere intent with the Positive Head podcast is to spread positivity to the world because we're selfish, quite honestly. I say that jokingly, but really only halfway joking. I'm referring to the good kind of selfish based on the knowing that we all get what we give in this life, because when we give, we're actually always giving to extensions of self, since we're all really one in the same consciousness, just in different bodies. So if you want to be a good selfish along with us by helping to spread the positivity, by all means, please proceed to shout about the Positive Head podcast from your rooftop. Otherwise, as you continue on your fabulous journey in this 3D reality, be sure to remember this. As long as you ain't dead, you're already positive ahead. Journey well, everyone, and thank you for being.